To paint this adorable puppy in watercolor, I started by taping down my watercolor paper, and I'm using Miya watercolor. I'm starting off with just a really watery blue. So I'm mixing more water than paint. I just want it to be really light, and I'm kind of creating this face shape for the dog. I'm filling it in with some light blue, and then I'm also dropping in a little bit of pink as well. This is actually going to be the white areas of the dog, so I don't want it to be super white, but I do want it to be really light. Next, I'm going to draw the ears, and since those are not white, they don't have any white parts in them, I can be a little bit brighter with my blue. The ears are pretty big, so I'm making sure to kind of fill up the rest of the space up here on the top. I'm adding a little bit of pink to the bottom area of the ears as well. For the body, I am also going to just use the light blue. I have majority of the body, especially in the middle, is white, and then there's a little bit of black along the outside edges, so I just wanted to mainly use this light blue down below as well, just to kind of map out the different parts of the dog. Now, my paint is still wet, but I do want to go in and darken up some of the areas. You can see that my dark color is kind of bleeding into my light color, and I actually don't mind it happening. I kind of want that effect of it just kind of subtly changing from one color to the next. So because my bottom section is still wet, that color can just kind of bleed in to my light. I'm using a lot less water and a lot more paint to get some nice dark darks. Same thing with the ears here. I'm just trying to go along the outside edge, and then if it bleeds into the middle, that is totally fine too. You can also see that part of the ear is like bleeding into the head, and that's okay because that side of the head is rather dark, so it won't matter. I wanted to just add a little bit of dark into the areas on the side here, but I want to be careful because the eyes are still there, so I think I may just wait for it to dry. I'm doing just a real light mouth line and kind of an area where the nose is going to be. All right, I let that dry. Now I can go in and my colors won't bleed together. So I'm using just a dark blue with not much water so that I get a nice dark shape for the nose. And then I want to kind of show where the dark and the light parts meet here. I'm also going to draw in where the eyes go. And then I want to fill the dark areas in with mostly blue and a little bit of red or purple mixed in. When painting a black dog, I rarely use just black paint. Black paint tends to be kind of dull, and even when you're looking at a black dog, depending on what lighting it's in, you usually can see other colors in there, and one of my favorite colors to use is blue, different shades of blue, but sometimes I'll mix some brown in there too, and you can kind of get creative with the different colors. I like to try to push myself to see how colorful I can make a black dog, so this one's mostly just blues and purples. I'm trying to keep it more simple, but sometimes I'll throw greens in there and yellows and all kinds of different shades and colors. So I'm just trying to darken up some of the darker areas of the dog. I want to make sure to get his mouth in there, some of the main features going on. His eyes are also very dark, so I want to go ahead and put those in, and then I'll add some light around them later so that they don't get lost next to his dark fur. I also want to make it more obvious where the face ends and the body begins. So just by adding a little bit more shading down on his chest, that makes that chin come forward and the chest go backwards so that you can see the difference between the two. I decided for the background to do kind of a gold color. I wanted something that was a little bit bright to pop behind the darks that were right next to it with the dog. So I thought gold would kind of be a nice balance for that. And I'm just kind of wetting an area and dropping some random paint in. I'm trying not to brush too much so that it's kind of an uneven coloring. It makes it more interesting to look at. This is like a yellow ochre that I'm using, which is kind of a more golden yellow. All right, I wanted to darken up just around the nose of the dog. And now I am adding some white around the eyes so that you can see them. And this is a watercolor white, so I'm putting it on pretty thick. It'll actually dry lighter than that, but it really helps those eyes stand out. I'm also going in with a really, really dark blue and just trying to find a couple areas that could use a little bit more definition. Up by the ears, I could get a little darker. And then there's certain sections in the face that could use a little bit more of a dark value. I'm going into the eye, especially along the bottom of the eyes, to darken that. And then I'm adding the nostrils of the nose as well. Part of the mouth could be darker. And then between the nose and the mouth, as these little dots, I don't want them to get too crazy detailed, but I do want to kind of show those there. I'm going to really pack on the white to get the little highlights on my dog's eyes, which really makes them come to life. I also wanted to add a little bit more under the chin to make sure that his face stood out from his body. So I'm just adding some details under there and softening some of my lines so it's not such a dark to a light, but a little bit more gradual. And we'll sign my name and call it a masterpiece. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. Have fun painting dogs. They're one of my favorite things to paint. And this guy was no disappointment, just so adorable. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Would love to have you get notifications of when I add new videos to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys.